So Wednesday gets here and I'm thinking, I'm not sure we've got a lot to talk about on this week's table talk. It's going to be maybe quite a short one. But 24 hours is a very long time in the world of modelling. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to this week's Table Talk. My name is Jason and if you're one of my new subscribers this week, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for joining. It's greatly appreciated. I'm sure as a modelling enthusiast you're going to find something on the channel that is of interest to you. So what we do in this video, we talk about what's happened in the week, what's happening on the desk, what's happening coming up. So it's your one-stop shop each week to catch up with me, where the channel's going, what's coming up, and make sure you don't miss anything. And I love the interaction that I get around these videos. I get lots of comments, people talking about all sorts of stuff, and it's nice to have that chat. So welcome one and all. If you're a long-standing subscriber, of course, a massive thank you. It's great to talk to you guys on a Friday night and when the videos are running, and talk to you in the comments of other videos throughout the week. Would you believe that this is my 9th time at recording the opening to this video? My brain is just not engaging today, so hopefully I've just worked through that and we're going to have a nice smooth ride for the rest of it. So 24 hours is a long time in the world of modelling. So like I said, Wednesday I'm thinking, not much to talk about. Then Thursday happens. This is going to be a long video potentially, so we better get cracking. It's been a funny old week, hasn't it? So we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to start with the garden. We've had loads of sunshine, so everyone's gone back to school this week. Yay! That means I've got some peace and quiet. My daughter's gone back to college. My partner works in a special needs school, so she's gone back. And my youngest daughter, Alice, she started high school. And this is the obligatory, I think it's so obligatory that it's actually now probably a law, photograph of my daughter in her new uniform. And because everyone's gone back to school, the sun's come out, it's cracking the flags, it's the lovely weather that you wanted for the last 5 weeks that we didn't get. So yeah, it's quite funny, and actually it's quite warm in here today. So it's been quite hot outside. We've been getting up to sort of 28, 29 degrees, those sort of temperatures. And usually the kitchen is cool in the morning and then starts warming up about 2 o'clock when the sun comes over the house. So in the morning I've got the curtains shut at the front of the house, keep the sun out, then we can open them up. And this year we installed blinds in the kitchen so I can drop the blinds. And it works brilliantly, but actually it's quite warm this morning. But it doesn't help that I've got my lamp on, that's generating heat. I'm talking, that generates heat, well certainly hot air anyway. So it's feeling quite warm in here. But because it's been nice and sunny, my clematis has finally broken open with all its flowers. So it looks stunning. Right, anyway, less of that. That's the garden bit out of the way. We usually do that towards the end, don't we? So what has been happening this week? Well, let's start with what happened on Thursday. So on Thursday we had, well actually, we'll start with, we had some sudden rainfall and it brought in a load of sand from Saudi Arabia and dumped it on my car. Can't believe the state of my car, and do you know why? Because the day before I'd washed the car, that's why. So I washed the car and then the next day this happens. One thing about being British is we like to complain about the weather, but I think with good reason. Anyway, on Thursday I got a delivery, and then I got another delivery, then I got another delivery, then I got another delivery. So that's what happened on Thursday. So let's talk you through very quickly what we've got, because we've got a couple of stash ads that you're looking at, and that works into what we're doing this weekend and next week and so on. So as you can see, we've got a couple of new kits, and this one is sort of slipping in under the radar. So it was announced in January as part of the new catalogue for 2023. It's the Airfix new tool Ferret, and this arrived with me on Thursday, so that meant it was hitting the shops on Thursday. And it's not had the fanfare of trumpets like the Sea King had, which, by the way, they've Airfix are replacing my sprue of clear parts. I've not received it yet, but I have had an email to say it's been shipped. But this arrives on Thursday, and it sort of goes under the radar. There's been a couple of builds of it in Airfix magazine, and that was it. So, you know, there was no dinner, it's here, or anything like that. I don't even think I've had an email from Airfix to say, oh, the new Ferret's out. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. But I've recorded the first impressions. I did that on the Thursday. And now I've got it, I'm dropping everything to build it, because I need a little bit of light relief from what's been going on with Queen Mary 2. We'll talk about that later. And I also need some material, because I've got to the point with Queen Mary 2 where I can do, yet again, loads of stuff, and it equates to not much video. So I need some additional video builds to punch that out. Now, although I've got a pipeline, I just want to do something completely different, and I don't want to disrupt my pipeline so much. So the Ferret is perfect timing, because it's arrived just when I need to build some more stuff. So I was sort of thinking, if the Ferret doesn't arrive, we'll start the Beaufighter and start putting some of that out, even though that's supposed to follow on from the Goater. So with the Goater, I've got plenty of material, and I've probably got maybe 1.5 weeks worth of building work to finish her. I might be being optimistic. I have a tendency to do that. So maybe 2 to 3. But that will equate to 1 or 2 videos more to do. I've got the video that's just gone out. I've got 1 more already loaded up and queued up. So we're nearly there with the Gotha. But Queen Mary 2, that's a different beast. So I have started the Ferret, you can see here. So I started that, I filmed this on a Friday, so I started this yesterday evening when I finished work. I did an hour or so before I made tea, and then I did an hour or so before I went to bed, and this is where I got to. And well, this gives you an idea of the size of it in 1 to 35 scale. The fit is lovely. Really, really nice. The detail is nice. The moulding is gorgeous. It's the hard plastic that we now get. And as you can see, it's all in green. And what you can see here is all the parts that you need to paint in the interior aluminium colour before I can do that assembly. So it has a basic interior, and it doesn't have an engine, unfortunately. But I've done the first impressions, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push all my first impressions up a week, and slot the Ferret in to the Wednesday first impression slot. So that was going to, Wednesday was going to be HMS Victory, so that'll just push out a week. So that's all good. So you'll see a first impressions for that on Wednesday. And you will see builds of this very, very soon, and I might do a couple of shorts to show the process, because no one's really even talking about it, which surprises me a bit, because there isn't a decent Ferret out there to my knowledge. If you know something different, let me know. There might be a resin one. I think Accurate Armour might have done one possibly. But for me, it's a little bit of a hole in the market, and it's got so much potential. Just out of interest, I will show you. No, I won't, because all the parts are resting on the instructions. But there is 3 paint options. So I'll be able to show you on the box. 3 paint options. and I'm doing the white one, which is Crete. So I say white, but actually there's quite a bit of the bronze green on there as well. And we're going to use ICM paints throughout. Yeah, so as you can see, I've started recording the build for that and it's going really, really well. So my next step is to airbrush some black down, because we're going to put a metallic down, and then we'll put the aluminium down, give it a wash, bang it all together. And then I need to think about how I'm putting the rest of it together, because underneath the mud guards is bronze green, and then everything on the upper works is white. So I need to think about how I'm going to paint that. Am I going to just paint everything white and then go in and hand paint the bronze green in under the mud guards? Possible. Don't know. Need to think about it. But got stuck into the build. We've nearly cleared 2 frets out of the, I think there's 5 frets off the top of my head, plus clear parts, which are just lenses for the lamps. A lot of the lamps you actually have to paint yourself, except for the headlamps. And strangely, you get quite a few of those. But yeah, it's not the best 135 scale kit I've ever seen, but it's a really nice kit. So look out for that on Wednesday. So that's one thing that got delivered on Thursday. The other thing that came on Thursday was this bad boy here. So this is the Her Majesty's Brig Sloop Speedy from 1782. Fairly famous ship because of its captain at the time, Cochrane, or Lord Cochrane as he became known, and most of the events that a good proportion of the events that make him quite famous happened when he was in charge of Speedy, and actually in quite a short period of time. And some of the stuff that you come across in the Master and Commander series of books are based on his exploits, for want of a better term. Anyway, this is a Vanguard model kit. Now, I mentioned Vanguard models a few weeks ago, and then I think I mentioned them again last week, and military modeler Paul has just started this build, so if you're interested in seeing how it comes together, go and see that. Anyway, I have recorded the first impressions, and this is my first Vanguard model kit. I've had my eye on them for a while, because it's the designer, Chris Watton, that I'm interested in. He's designed some of my favourite wooden kits. So I very much wanted to see what his own kits under his brand were like. And having done the first impressions, I think this is one of the nicest kit. Well, I know it's one of the nicest wooden kits I've certainly the nicest in my stash, but I've ever seen. It's got some really, really lovely details, some real nice innovations, and very high quality materials in there that they've thought about the modeler. So the planking strips are really flexible, so you're not going to have trouble with putting bends in and all that sort of stuff. Very, very, very nice. It was difficult for me to not get going. I got quite excited doing the first impressions. That is a lovely, lovely kit. So, yeah. So there's a first impressions, which means we'll do a Wood Wednesday at some point in the coming weeks. There's no rush to do that. But this is the updated 2023 version. So you've got copper tape in there to do copper tiles, and they've done some additional work to just bring the model standard up to the rest of their range. So yeah, definitely, if you like your wooden ships, definitely worth checking out. This is not an advanced build, an experienced build. So you need to have built a couple of wooden model kits successfully before you tackle that. But from going through the instructions and the plans and things, I think they've done everything possible to make it as easy as possible to build that, and it will look awesome when it's done. So also delivered on Thursday, I got a delivery from a Matty. Now I ordered this early August, and obviously they're Italian and they're on holiday in August, so they processed it pretty much 1st to 2nd of September when they came back, and it arrived today. Unfortunately, the box got absolutely battered. I mean, absolutely battered. It looks like someone had played football with it. Nothing was damaged in terms of what I'd ordered, but it was risky because, well, you can see, I might have a picture of the box actually. If I have, I'll put it up now. But you can see how crushed that packaging is, and it actually popped open, but luckily nothing from this was lost. Now this, I'll be doing a tools video on this. I love Amati tools. I think they are the best quality tools that you can buy for modelling, and although they're aimed at wooden modelers, they cross over into the plastic world really easily. And this particular tool is a knife and a saw and a vise and a drill. So we'll do a little video about that because it is a really, really, really cool tool with mini vise and all sorts of stuff, and they send you all the bits for it. So if you're starting out in the hobby, rather than buying all of those, you can buy this. It'll be cheaper, and it's certainly better quality than a lot of junk you can buy these days. And you go on Amazon and put modelling tools in, and you get these packs. 10 quid and you get 50 tools in it. Yeah, they'll be quality, won't they? Now, the other thing I bought, which you guys will be interested in, bear with me, material for making sails. Now, I know that most of my subscribers don't build wooden model ships. There's a few that do. Most people do a bit of both that are on my channel. But why have I bought sail material? Two reasons. Firstly, the Sol Royale that we bought from Hella has vac form sails, and I want to replace them with real sails. So that's what some of this is for. But also, and I will do a product review video on this, it is absolutely phenomenal for things like tarps, camouflage netting, rolled up hessian, that sort of stuff. It's a very tightly woven material, very, very fine. You can perhaps see the fine threads there. I don't know if that'll pick up on camera, but it has all sorts of uses. If you like to put some scratch built items on your model, or do dioramas or stuff, or you want people stood under a bit of tent looking at maps or something, this is the best stuff for it. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it looks better than things like tissue paper, which I use a lot. Tissue paper, it's a nice easy way of doing it, but this can add some real realism to what you're doing. It's a brilliant little product, and I know because I have used it before, but I haven't had any knocking around for a little while. I've got some sails from other kits that I've not used, but they're sort of cut to size, but you can cut bits out and use bits. But this is brilliant stuff if you like doing your dioramas, or you just want to have a roll of material draped over the back of your vehicle or something. Perfect. So we will talk about that. Now then, so those, I both got those from Amati. Then I had a delivery from Hannants. And I got a couple of resin ship's boats. Now they say for the Bismarck, but these are going to go on my Scharnhorst. So basically I've got a 6 metre and 8 metre cutter. Nice little upgrades to the trumpeter plastic parts, and you get all the oars in there as well, which you don't usually get. So very, very nice. Gives me some display options for them as well. So that's another addition to my Scharnhorst. Now I also got an email from while we're talking about Scharnhorst, I got an email from Sovereign Hobbies and the colour coat range of paints. Finally, the steel deck colour came into stock. So if you remember, a couple of weeks ago I said I can't wait any longer. I've bought the Life Colour acrylic one. Yeah, they've now got it in stock. So I've ordered it to keep it with my enamels that I'll make things a little bit more simple if I'm using the same system all the way through. So I've ordered some of that. They've only got it in the larger tins, but that doesn't fuss me. It just means I buy 2 instead of 4 or 5. So that means that my Scharnhorst is done in terms of pre-prep. So all good. Now also in my Hannants delivery, and in fact this was the real reason I'd gone on to Hannants, but the cost of it was so low I had to buy something else to hit the minimum spend. I bought this. So 2 people commented on my Airfix Bentley first impressions that there was Thunderbird models masks available, and I can't remember if both people mentioned Hannants or not, but Wendy certainly did, so thank you, Wendy. I know there was a gentleman as well whose name doesn't come to my mind, apologies, but I think you actually mentioned it first. But here we have the masking set for the Bentley. So that covers our numbers and our flags, which is lovely, because it certainly needs it, especially on the grill and the like. Unfortunately, certainly in Hannants, they only had the number 9, not the number 8. I would have preferred the 8, but we've got the 9, happy enough with that. So I now have a masking set for that. So thank you very much for those of you that mentioned that. So that puts me in a great place. And I think that covers all of my deliveries on Thursday. So yeah, a busy day Thursday. Getting up and opening the door was quite a busy day, because they all came in different carriers. They weren't, one carrier turned up with all these boxes. It's, all of those deliveries, it was a different van for each one. Anyway, that's what happened in the world of deliveries this week. You now know what I'm doing in terms of building, and my weekend this weekend will focus on just getting that done, so that I've got some video material to put in between my Gopher and my Queen Mary 2. So last weekend we were working on the Queen Mary 2, and I finished the promenade deck, which means I've got all the railings in, I've got all the lifeboats on, I've got the life raft canisters and the davits on, and she's looking awesome, and we've even painted in the little life rings and stuff. So I will take a picture and we'll put that in now. She's looking awesome, so now we can move. I think we're moving back onto the top. So I'm really trying to motor, but it's photo etch, photo etch, photo etch, and it's lots of bending, lots of gluing, lots of painting. Doesn't amount to much in the way of video time, and you don't want to see it all blow by blow, and that's not my intention. So Queen Mary 2 videos will be even more spaced out. So Ferret will backfill. We'll do Gotha every other week, and you'll get either Ferret or Queen Mary 2. And then when the Ferret's finished, if Queen Mary 2's not finished, we will get Beaufighter done, even if the Gotha's not finished. But I think what will happen is Gotha will finish, Beaufighter will start, and we might get Gotha get swapped out by Beaufighter, and then Queen Mary 2 will stop, and the Scharnhorst build will begin. So that's sort of where we are with everything that's going on. I'm looking forward to getting into Beaufighter. I just want a complete change of pace, which hopefully the Ferret's going to do for me anyway. And then of course we've got that Matchbox kit that the subscribers voted for. So let's just have a quick look back at what happened last week, just to make sure you didn't miss anything really exciting. So we kicked off Monday with a modelling basics video on quick masking large areas quickly, cost effectively. So people coming back to the hobby, and people coming to the hobby, there are those people that have never built a model before and then see all these YouTube videos and think, I want to have a go at that. It's aimed at those. I think most experienced modelers have come up with their own way of working, techniques and things, and a couple of people put some suggestions in, and were telling me what cling film is called in their country, which is, you know, brilliant. Those are the sort of comments I love, because it doesn't just help me out, it helps everybody out that watches that video in the future, because they can read those comments and understand the things that you're saying. So someone suggested post-it notes, which I have seen people do. I've never used them, but I have seen people do. So as modelers, we develop our own techniques and things, quite often coming from things that we've got to hand, and that's certainly how I've come across foil and cling film. And you'll have seen me use it several times in my models. We did cling film in the Gotha build, for example, and we used them on some other builds as well. I think, didn't we use cling film on the Avro Anson as well? I think we might have done. I use foil less often, because one of the things about foil is it has a little bit of spring in it. So although it can be great, as we demonstrated, for unusual shapes and stuff, if you're not careful, it can spring out and leave a gap, and if you've not noticed it, that's exactly where your spray paint goes, because your spray paint finds it even if you don't. So if you didn't see it and you're interested in some quick, cost-efficient ways of masking, check that out. Then of course we had the seeking video, and that was 2 parts. I didn't realise when I was recording it that it amounted to over 2 hours of material, and it's always a decision: do you do it justice, or do you skip through it? Now the real question is over the instructions. Do you look at all the steps and take people through it, which increasingly I've had a tendency to do, or do you just skip through it and go, yeah, we're building up the cockpit, yeah, that's the wings going on, yeah. Because it's the first time I'm looking at the instructions as well, I sort of end up starting to study it and sort of don't even know I'm doing it. So there's almost an hour of instructions, and somebody left a comment. I actually removed it, because this is one of those comments that is not constructive, and it's a bit pointless. So if they'd expanded on it and said, look, I think you're focusing too much on the instructions, I could like that and go, yeah, okay, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, understand that. Not to everyone's taste. There is a fast forward button though, if you don't want to see it all. So my view is put it in, and then people have got the option. They can watch it, they can fast forward it, skip ahead to a different bit if they want, you know. But just putting a comment on that says unwatchable, sorry mate, I'm going to remove that, because that's a pointless comment. Anyway, the video focuses on what's in the box and the instructions, and then the second video looked at the plastic, and then we got to the clear parts. And then I think there was a lot of people commenting on the second video because it's a stunning kit. Go and have a look at those first impressions, and if you don't want to see what the instructions are like, do the start of that video and then go and watch the second one where you look at the plastic parts. And I make the comment, and it's absolutely right, if anyone hands you those plastic parts and says, guess who the manufacturer is, you'd be saying, Edward, Tamiya, easy. So we do a little bit of a comparison against the Tamiya benchmark at the end, and the Airfix kit comes out brilliantly, other than I've got broken parts, and I've got parts breaking off the sprues, and I've got clear parts that I can't see through. So my question to Airfix is, what are you doing about your quality control? Because it's your reputation. Because if that's the first time someone's bought an Airfix kit, or you're one of those modelers who has continued the narrative of don't buy Airfix because it's junk, and you've been persuaded by channels like mine that says, actually, this kit's brilliant, and you go and buy one because everyone's saying this is brilliant, and you get the Seeking and you get what I got, sorry, you know, you're going to go, actually, no, Airfix is still junk. So all the effort that Airfix have put into turning their company around and becoming the best model manufacturer globally, which they've got a chance of doing, all of that effort there is being undone by poor quality control in the manufacturing facility in India. It needs addressing. Airfix need to address it urgently, and we talk about that in more detail in the first impressions. So if you're interested in the Sea King, don't let me put you off. Don't think, oh, I'm not going to buy it. It's an absolutely brilliant kit. And if you're one of the unlucky ones that gets clear parts like mine, and it might be I'm the only one who ever gets clear parts like that, then you're in customer service up. They're dead friendly, and within 3 days you've got a complete replacement sprue on the way. Fantastic. They didn't even ask me to share pictures of the issue and stuff, just the batch number. So, you know, I was all prepared. I'd even taken some photographs. I was all prepared to say, look, this is what I'm talking about. And in the first impressions video, you see me trying to clean it off, and it just won't. I thought at first it was heavy release agent and with some dust or something in. They were greasy, but this is actually in the plastic. So not quite sure. Air bubbles, speckles of dust, something metallic. Who knows? But yeah, there was a problem with my Ferret at least. So that was Wednesday, and then yesterday we had the next part of the go to build, and the video's not quite doing as many people watching them as I thought would, to be honest. They tend to generate as they go on, you know, over a few weeks they'll start building up, but there's no initial flurry to go out and see those videos. There was at the start, and it's dropped off a little bit, and I think it was painting wood is a lot of things that a lot of modelers get daunted by it, and I think in the early days of the build, where there's all that wood going on, people were interested in how I tackled that, and now it's putting decals on green wings. Yeah, so what? So I get it, but it is building up, and you've got rigging and engines and all that sort of stuff that we've just sort of got out of the way. So you're at the point where we're going to be doing more wood painting with the floats, building the floats up a bit more, rigging, and then putting the fuselage in. So you're getting back to some really interesting stuff again, or at least I think so. So that was last week. So what is coming up this week? Well, we've already talked about Wednesday's first impressions and the fact that we're moving everything back a week. Now let's talk about Monday. So on Monday we'll be looking at a wing jig from EBMA Models. I'm not sure if I've got that right. But it's basically a jig to allow you to get correct geometry for setting your wings. So in that video, we'll build it because it comes flat packed and show you how it works. So if you're one of the many modelers out there that like building aeroplanes, Monday's an interesting video for you. And then we'll do the Ferret, and that then has a knock-on effect with what comes after that. So on the Friday, the build should be Queen Mary 2, and I think I have enough material for it to be Queen Mary 2. Then we'll have another gopher on the following Friday, because that one's already up and loaded. Then I think we'll be on the Ferret, and then we may be on Gota or another Ferret, don't know. But it also means I've got to move around what's coming during the week next week. So because we've moved the Victory first impressions, which is another two-parter, by the way, because we're moving that back a week, the following week after that, are you still keeping up with me? We were going to do a look at aftermarket for the HMS Victory. So if I don't move that, that'll come out before the HMS Victory first impression. So I've got to move that back a week. So I might film this tool and plot that into a week on Monday. So now you know roughly what's going on in 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, we've got, I've forgotten what we're doing on Monday. So wing jig, Ferret, Queen Mary 2, then a Matty tool, Victory on Wednesday and Thursday, then probably Gota, and then the week after that Not sure. Not sure. Well, I am sure. I've got it all written down, but I'm moving things around, as you can see. And there you have it. Right, now then, usually I show you what's going on in the garden, but other than the flowers that I showed you earlier, not much is happening in there. We're getting to that point where everything's starting to go over, and I am 2 to 3 weeks away from doing the big tidy up. Next week, or possibly the start of the week after, I've got a new gutter downpipe going in the garden. So we don't have a downpipe in our section of the back garden because I've got a flat on one side of me and another house attached on the other side. And actually we're sort of on the end of a row of terrace houses at the bottom of a close or a cul-de-sac. And when they built these houses, and they're nearly 20 years old now, they put a downpipe at each end and then one house in, and then there's no others. And we keep having issues with water flow in the gutters because the neighbours don't clean their gutters. So I'm putting a downpipe in our back section so we can maintain our gutters, and the fact that the neighbours don't do theirs ain't going to affect me no more. So that's being installed, which means I'm also going to be able to put a water butt in the back garden, and I can use collected rainwater for watering the garden rather than drawing water. Because I'm on a water meter, so that's going to save me some money. It's better for the environment, all that sort of stuff. So that's part of the garden plan for this winter, because we're doing some work in the garden. So all the wooden planters, they were put in as a temporary measure when we were planning out the garden. I wanted to make sure the garden worked, and it does. So we're now going to replace them with some PVC. They're actually fence boards you buy individually. And we're going to, we being me, during the winter, we're going to rip out all the wood, which, you know, we can just lift out, and then replace them with this coloured PVC. Looks really nice. We've taken our time choosing it. So we'll be rebuilding the garden over the winter. So I'll show you how that goes as we get to it. But as part of my new health regime to try and get into smaller t-shirts, I go for a walk every day, and with the sun coming back out, we've had some lovely early morning walks. So I thought I'd show you some pictures from my daily walk. So walk out of the house, I'm on the edge of the estate. I can walk out onto the main road, loop round onto a road called Shady Lane, and then I walk up Shady Lane, back, can come off Shady Lane, walk through the estate back to my house. So I can do a 20-minute or a half an hour walk depending on how much time I've got. I don't do it every morning because some mornings I'm ferrying kids, in which case I'll do it lunchtime. Today, for example, I went for my morning walk at 7 o'clock because I didn't have kids to ferry, and then I've still got time to record this in the afternoon. So there you go, that's my walk. Some stunning views at this time of year, and we might take one or two others because you can see all the greenery down Shady Lane, and as autumn comes and those colours change, it can look quite stunning. So yeah, look out for one or two more picture updates on the walk. So I think that does finally cover everything that's gone on this week. A busy week, as always actually, isn't it? Right, there are some special people in this world that like to support the channel. You can support the channel in many ways. Clicking the like button, don't forget to do that. Watching the video, that all helps. But other things you can do is you can hit super thanks. So if the video was particularly handy, or we talk about something, you go, actually, I really want one of those. That was just what I was looking for. You can hit super thanks and chuck a pound or $1 at me, or more, whatever you feels appropriate, and all that money goes into the channel. You can also buy t-shirts, cups, hoodies, aprons and that sort of stuff from my merchandise store. And as we're coming up for Christmas, now's the time to start talking to your family and saying, do you know what, one of those cups would be handy, or I really could do with an apron, and you know, here's where to get them, that sort of thing. A couple of people have given donations during the course of the week, and as always, I like to give them a shout out in the weekly table talk. So a massive thank you to these guys who really generously gave to the channel this week. All the money, like I say, goes into the channel. I don't go and spend it on McDonald's or something. We spend it on things that you guys end up seeing, so it goes to a good place. Dave Evans World War II models, a massive thank you for your donation. Thank you very much, sir. It will get spent on something, I don't know what yet. I did ask for some ideas, nobody had any. And George364, your donation as well. You know what, really appreciated. So that all goes in the pot. And when there's something comes out and I think, you know, that's stunning, I've got a pot of money there that's come from you guys and people watching the videos and generated by the channel, and we can just go out and get it. As you can see, we've bought some bits and pieces. I've got to say, this has come out of my own money, birthday money and various other little bits of money I've stashed away because I knew I was saving up for this. They're not cheap, 300 quid plus. So about 350-ish off the top of my head. So that hasn't been paid for by the channel. That's come out of me working. But there you go. Now the last thing to say is I have had one or two people asking me about Facebook. And occasionally I've been asked about membership and stuff as well. And I prefer to keep the channel free for two reasons. I want it to be accessible to everyone. And there's enough options now for you to contribute and not have to pay to see something particular. But also things like Patreon, membership, Facebook channels and stuff, it means finding more time to manage that on top of what I'm doing. And that just means less modelling time. So you have to balance your life, and when you've got a family life and you've got a working life and you've got a channel life, you know, you've got to find an equilibrium. And I did actually start a Facebook channel before I started the YouTube channel. It was called Building Models for Beginners. And this took off, so I didn't do anything more with it. And actually this week I finally deleted the page because I've been umming and ahhing about whether I took some of the stuff that I do for beginners on here and put it on there. But it's not just the time of putting it on, you've then got to manage the comments, and that's much more difficult on Facebook than it is on YouTube. By a country mile it is. So it was just more time being taken up, and I'd rather spend the time having fun building models. So for now, no. When I retire and I'm 12 to 14 years away from that, then that's a different story, we might do. But right now, we're going to keep it as we are. So this channel works because you guys follow it, and I love you all for it. I enjoy doing it, I think you can tell that. I have a lot of fun doing this. And that's it. That's this week done. Who knows what's going to happen next week? I can't see there's much happening. It'll probably be a short one. We'll see. Thank you very much for looking in. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy your modelling. I hope to catch up with you in the comments and on the next premiere on Friday at 9 PM Greenwich Mean Time, which, Ron, is the centre of the universe. We're never going to move to Winnipeg time. Give it up, mate. Bye for now.